It is my pleasure to have the opportunity to give this presentation. Thank you for having me. Let's begin creating JATS XML from Japanese language articles and automatic typesetting using XSLT. Here is an outline of the contents. First, an introduction and some background, then creating Japanese XML articles in JATS, followed by creating PDF using H formatter. The challenge of applying JATS to Japanese language text. Finally, the future and conclusion. There are many languages and writing systems. This picture is a collage of writing systems, or, of course, some of them are not used nowadays. Notice that you cannot find the Latin alphabet in this collage. The Latin alphabet is merely one of the many, many types of written characters in the world. This is a world written character map. The Latin alphabet is only used in half of the world: Europe, North and South America, and Oceania. Arabic and Chinese are the dominant written characters in Asia. Not all research articles are written in English. In countries other than English-speaking ones, higher education and scientific research is conducted in those countries' native tongues, and thus articles are submitted in non-English languages. Such articles do not even use Latin alphabet. Rather, they use Chinese characters, Korean Hangul, or Thai alphabet, for example. Sorry. According to a study conducted by the National Institute of Science and Technology Policy, the ratio of HTML articles written in Japanese was 25.6%. JStage, an e-journal platform operated by the Japan Science and Technology Agency, published about 29,000 Japanese language journal articles versus about 17,000 English language ones in 2013. That is, 60.7% were in Japanese. In addition, most of the humanity social science research, which are typically published in university journals, are naturally in Japanese rather than English. Searching NDL OPAC, which contains various articles published in Japan, revealed that there are about 47,000 university journal articles in Japanese in 2013, while about 5,000 in English. That is, 19.4% were in Japanese. Even for Japanese language articles, e-articles are essential. We were looking for schema for Japanese language articles. Such schema had to accept English as well as Japanese, because in Japanese STM articles, English descriptions are needed as well as Japanese ones. In 2011, JATS 0.4 enabled the expression of Japanese language articles in XML, and JStage supported JATS 0.4 immediately. As JATS 0.4, formerly NLMDTD 3.1, introduced so-called multi-language capability in early 2012, it has been possible to tag such Japanese language research articles using JATS. JStage now officially supports JATS 0.4 and encourage publishers to roll their papers in JATS. But JStage has yet to adapt JATS 1.0 because of budget problem. We hope for your support for the adoption of JATS 1.4 or 1.1 to J stage. We started creating JATS XML for Japanese language articles. Before that, I'm from Kyoto, Japan, located in the peripheral area of the kanji or Chinese character zone. Kyoto had been former capital city of Japan for more than 1,000 years, 794 to 1868. Many relics and historical and religious sites are there. This picture is an image of Kyoto for tourists, and this silhouette of pagoda. This silhouette of pagoda. Pagoda is the pagoda in this inset photos. Kyoto is also actually one of the high technology cities in Japan. For example, the headquarters of Nintendo is in Kyoto. Nakanishi printing was founded in 1865. In 1865, Japan was still ruled by Tokugawa shogunate government, and we were nearing the end of the samurai. And I knew in American, Lincoln assassination years, 1865. Our ancestor, my great-grandfather, established our company, 150-year-old family business. We are one of the oldest printers in Japan and possibly in the world. We started as woodcut printer. We have had experience with 4 printing systems: wood, hot metal, offset, and e-journal. Perhaps we are one of the only companies in the world with experience for 4 printing methods. This is the first Japanese journal in JATS that appeared on J stage. In the Japanese Journal of Gastroenterological Surgery, JJGS. This slide shows the top page of sample article. J stage has a toggle feature for readers to switch between a Japanese page and English page. And this is shown in English. If you click this button, this button, if you click this button, you can see English page. And if you click again, it returns to Japanese page. The indication itself is still in Japanese because of J-stage system policy. This slide shows its body text page of this article. Although the body text is in Japanese for this article, figure captions are present in English. This is for the convenience of holding readers. Also, article titles, author names, and affiliations, abstracts, and keywords are prepared both in Japanese and in English. Alternate expressions for a single object are necessary, as simple repetition of a tag can be confusing. For example, a 2 name exception of the same person, 2 different persons. JATS introduced alternative tags for such cases. Such multi-language presentation of article metadata is coded using corresponding alternative tags such as name alternative of JATS NLMDTD allowed to repeat the name tag. For example, so that it was possible to code multiple expressions of a single name in different languages. But such practice did not clearly show that such multiple expressions belong to a single person or to different persons. A wrapper, such as the name alternative tag, finally allowed us to distinguish such cases. In the example on this slide, an author name is expressed, one in Japanese as Nakanishi, Hidehiko in Japanese, and the other in the Latin alphabet, Nakanishi, Hidehiko. These pronunciations are the same, but the expression is different. The language of the element value is defining using XML lang. JSH asks publishers to use the value EN and the JAJP AN for XML lang. And this slide was the XML expression actually used by JJGS typesetting. I think it's somewhat complicated, but it will be necessary for international understandings. Here is the list of such alternatives we use. For elements which do not need such disambiguation, such as abstract and keyword group, it is sufficient just to repeat such elements with different language attributes. As article title and subtitle have to be unique to an article, transtitle and transsubtitle are used to express alternate language data. So, how can we create Japanese XML articles in JATS? It is a challenge to create XML data from author manuscripts, typically written in Microsoft Word. And even in Japanese. For English language articles, EX styles provided by iNarrowing is a standard tool to convert a Word file into JATS XML file for many publishers. Some use offshore vendors to convert Word PDF files to XML. Unfortunately, EX style is not convenient enough for Japanese language articles. But nevertheless, there is no other system readily available for Japanese text. Thus, publishers and we typesetters have been coping with this challenge for some years. Our method is here. 1, convert Microsoft Word to Microsoft Office Open XML. 2, convert Microsoft Office Open XML to JATS XML. 3, validate XML. Maybe. First, we convert Microsoft Word to Office Open XML. Microsoft Open XML has many useless tags. As you know. This slide shows actual Open XML. I cannot read and understand it. This complicated XML is beyond human capability. The output XML file then goes through XSLT to remove unnecessary tags introduced by OpenXML converter. The resulting file is further processed by a Perl program to insert tags as defined by JATS. For English language articles, it is possible to identify objects such as author names or journal titles fairly obviously by looking at typeface such as boldfaces or italics, or punctuation such as colons or periods. We have to insert word separators manually, especially for author name. Agglutinative languages, such as Japanese or Korean, are characterized by the attaching of stems and affix to form longer words to express term conjugation. In Japanese and Korean, this results in completely agglutinated sentences with no word separators, such as spaces. Especially in Japanese, word separation shall be achieved by undefined nouns, which are in Chinese characters, most of the time and using dictionary or just manually. This slide shows the distinctive feature of agglutinative languages. There are no space between words, only comma and periods indicates the breaks within and between sentences. See these examples. This and this have the same meaning and short translation. But English words doesn't correspond with Japanese words one-to-one. This example in English needs 4 words and 3 spaces. Japanese has no spaces. Our linguistic scholar separates this sentence to 5 or 8 words. Each scholar has different opinion for Japanese word separation. This example is STM articles, so that is influenced by English articles, and so uses horizontal writing and punctuation. In old days, no punctuation marks were used at all. So there were multiple sentences, 1 character string. To identify elements for article metadata, we insert separators manually. This is especially the case for author names and affiliations. Japanese author names are often expressed as a combined string, where a surname, for example, Nakanishi, and a given name, for example, Hidehiko, are attached to Nakanishi Hidehiko, my name. It is separated as Nakanishi Hidehiko, surname, given name. Possibly, we only know this by experience by asking the author himself. To take such name string, we need to insert a separator manually, for example. This shows an example of author names with separators. Identifying element is also an issue for citations. Finally, names and given names are almost always net separated and have to be manually marked for separation. In addition, identifying article titles and journal names has to be done manually. The result XML is then validated using the Oxygen XML editor, and the final JATS XML is obtained. It will be uploaded to JStage and published as full-text HTML data. The quality of the article is checked using the preview feature of JStage. That's all for XML. However, we need to make a PDF file. JJ is not published in print, so there is strong demand to view articles in PDF. This is a PDF image corresponding to the HTML in the previous slide. This is the figure page of the PDF. We created PDF by using AH formatter. AH formatter is a software developed by Antenna House Inc. This is a workflow for creating PDF. First, Word XML is converted to JATS XML with our tools. We used AH formatter interface to convert the obtained JATS XML to PDF. This process needs XSLT. AH formatter formats XSL formatting objects, XSL4. XML with Excel style sheet or HTML with CSS. The formatted result will be displayed in GUI and outputted or printed to PDF. The workflow is like this. I regret to say that second author, Mr. Toshiyuki Naganawa, the vendor of AH format Antenna House, is absent. I'm sorry that I can't explain AH format in detail. Such PDFs are created by use of AH formatter. We have developed XSLT for this tool. The XSLT converts a JATS file into XSL formatting objects, XSL4, which expresses the page model format for PDF. The XSL4 is then converted to PDF using the AH formatter. The resulting PDF is used for proofreading by the editorial office and authors. any proofs will be reflected in the original XML or modifying the XSLT. Our example, which is in the next slide. This slide is XSLT used for age formatter. The XSLT itself is the same as widely used, but there are some extensions for Japanese rendering, for example here. PDF files thus created are mostly good as far as STM papers are concerned, as they are basically in the same or similar format as the corresponding Western articles. UTF-8, which is the standard character encoding for XML, also enables the expression of most Japanese characters correctly. But word separation needs to be different and a time-consuming point. Word separators should be inserted in XML in advance. Still, we have the following problems. In Japan, exquisite typesetting are often requested. Automatic typesetting by H formatter may not be sufficient. Although Japanese texts do not use hyphenation of words, we have rules applicable to line breaks. For example, punctuation mark shall not come at the beginning of a line. This rule is also in English. Another example, in Japanese, these hiragana and katakana characters, pronounced tsu, which mark a geminate consonant, do not come at the head of a line as a rule in written Japanese. AH format can handle these rules. Some words, such as personal names, shall not be broken up between lines. This can only be achieved by inserting zero with joiner code in between, such as this time. But this zero with joiner code insertion creates a fatal problem, as this practice causes a drawback wherein searching the text for Nakanishi fails. With regard to figure and tables, they should be positioned in the same page where the corresponding texts appear. It is also necessary to develop separate XSLT to process figures and tables in order to create acceptable PDF, which may be the case even for English language articles published in Japan. This requires customized XSLT, sometimes for each individual figures and tables, and this increases the cost heavily. An example of such XSLT is shown here. This is because Japanese authors and publishers ask for the location of figures and tables exactly where they want them to be rather than where the format automatically positioned. This requires a lot of manual processing, which certainly raises costs. We typesetters have been trying to persuade authors and publishers, but haven't been very successful so far. This is the end of our present challenge and the solution. But we need more in order to improve JATS for the international article circulations of articles. So what is being done next? So far, what we need to process are STM articles, which are written in the standard Western way, and the difficulties we face are limited. And the future, we will need to deal with social science and humanistic literature, which are more traditional and contain the following characteristics: vertical writing, emphasis on Kenton, Warichu. Vertical writing. To begin with, we start with the problem of vertical writing. Although vertical writing itself does not require any special processing in JATS tagging, automatic typesetting is not easy. Vertical writing does not simply mean aligning characters vertically. For example, in writing Arabic numerals or Latin alphabets vertically, there are orientation options such as to rotate them, not to rotate them, and to use Chinese numerals. This means we need to declare written direction when we create an XML file, such as writing direction type of direction vertical. We do not have such a tag in JATS yet. I hope to adapt such a new element for direction. Next is emphasis expression. Emphasis is an extension of boldface or italics, which is often seen in Japanese articles. It is not yet supported by JATS. We use styled content and AH format extensions to express this today. We need a general tag emphasis, including bold and italic. In other words, if this content emphasis is not necessary because of using styled content, bold and italic should be expressed within the attribute of styled content. Do you know? Warichu is a short note inserted within a sentence in 2 lines, typically with parentheses. This is often used in humanities scholarly publications, and Warichu has been supported by MS Word. This is an actual historical document example. Collectively, international articles need these additional tags for vertical writing, emphasis content, and Warichu. JATS opened a new horizon in processing Japanese language articles. There have been no major difficulties. UTF-8 encoding for XML also enables the expression of most Japanese characters correctly. Still, there are remaining issues in processing non-Latin agglutinative language, such as Japanese. The main challenge include word separators have to be inserted manually, line break issues, positioning figure and tables correctly. Writing is a culture. Historically, Japanese writing and typesetting, as well as those of China and Korea, were extremely conscious of visual effects. This is probably because we use a pictograph or ideograph writing system. This explains the fact that calligraphy has been so popular and advanced in those of Far Eastern Asian countries. This calligraphy stands for heaven, earth, men. The character not only have meanings, but also an artistic concept. Thus, authors and publishers care about a page layout heavily, even if the page consists of only text. In describing text in XML, sometimes it is necessary to call such layout information as Warichu. Maybe we should focus on the semantic of Warichu, that is an inserted note, rather than its style. But we have to consider this further. As we go further into traditional Japanese language papers, we will discover more issues which may or may not be solved by extending JATS. Is JATS applicable? This is an extreme example, but this is an article of STM. This is the first Western medical book translated into Chinese in 1774. The Chinese characters were written in vertically, but they were translated from a Dutch medical book, which of course was written horizontally. Another extreme example. The previous slide was translated, therefore, except for the vertical writings, fundamental STM article styles were there at the time. How is this sample written in JATS? This is an Eastern medical textbook from 1835. These are extreme examples. Nowadays, scholars don't write their articles in these styles. But in the world, there are many languages, many writing systems. JATS International needs to get even better. For example, we don't know Arabic articles rules yet, but we can imagine many challenges could be expected in JATS, Arabic expression in the future. Thank you for your attention. Do you have any questions?
Bruce Rosenblum from Inera. I'm curious, with the marker you're putting into the author names as a separator between the surname and the given name, do you need to do that in the reference lists and with all the Japanese names when you have Japanese language references as well?
日本語の著者名を処理するときに、その著者名のなんていうんですかね、辞書みたいなのがあるかって。
ないですね。
No, we don't think any. Yeah, we can look at the telephone directory maybe, but that's not enough.
Thank you.
Debbie LePere, Mulberry Technologies. I found that really exciting. I didn't realize JATS had useful things for Japan as early as 2011, and that was exciting. But I admit I don't understand Kenten very well. Is this just in flowing text? Does this come up in metadata at all? Does it come up with names? Talk to me about Kenten.
検点の意味がよくわかんない。
検点、this 10 is the dot.
I've seen it. I know what it looks like. My question is, where can you find it? Do I just surround a few words and say these words, the way you would with bold? These words are bold. These words are Kenten. Can it happen in names?
検点をどういう時に使うか。
検点はそれがね決まってないんですよあんまり。だから昔の本の名前に使ったりして本の名前にしたりとか、それとか
The Kenten, the emphasis sometimes used just designating, for example, book name in a sentence. There is a book name. They want to, emphasis that this is a name of a book, or maybe あとどんな時かな。
あとだから強調ですね。
And general, just emphasizing that it's sometimes it's like boldface, italics, but one author can use various Kenten styles. There are already two styles, but we can use, for example, the what do you call it? The squares, white circle, whatever. So one author can use several contents to distinguish between those emphasizing.
You're making named content sound better and better. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Laura Randall from National Library of Medicine. This is fascinating to me, and I'm going to ask a question that shows my ignorance, so I'll hope you forgive me for that. For the vertical writing, my question is whether or not the vertical writing conveys meaning or if it's just a presentation issue.
縦書きにするっていうことに特別な意味があるのか、それともただそういう
縦書き書けない、つまり人文書で縦書きしか書けないのがあるんですよ。
おかげすとあまりうまくいかない。You know, in the humanities and especially in humanity articles, you know, those sentences should be, you know, written in vertical way. You can, you know, technically you can write it horizontally, but that doesn't, you know, make much sense. Just for example, when we talk about 1,000 old articles, the literatures, we need to write them in vertical way. And also, the most novels, fictions and non-fictions, those novels are definitely in vertical style in Japan. That's just a, you know, custom.
Yeah, I was looking at it and just wondering if, you know, if instead of a writing direction, there actually needs to be a more substantive semantic distinction between content that is presented vertically versus horizontally. So, you know, I have my JATS working group hat on, thinking, where do we need to take this and how significant does it need to be?
One point I can give you is that there was sometimes we use in the vertical writing. For example, newspapers use vertical writings all the way, and but they have to express the numerals. There was 数字が入ってる例がありましたよね。例はなかったのか。数字入ってます。これですね。で、for example, a paper has to newspaper article talks about the number of you know, people who are sacrificed by the train accident, whatever, and those numbers are Arabic numerals, and they have problems. And vertical writing typically use Chinese numerals to the right. I think you can understand 1, 2, 3 at least. They only got 2 lines, but those are not very readable. So the newspapers insert Arabic numerals, but then the question is which style should be used: the vertical Arabic numerals or the distorted ones, and that's really a problem. So then maybe author has a preference which should be used. Did I answer your questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Please.
Debbie LePere, Mulberry Technologies again. I know that the antenna house formatter can produce vertical writing. I don't know, and you can probably tell me, do you have to do a whole article in vertical, or can you have a nice article set horizontally with a quote in the middle that's vertical? Can you do that? Do you do that?
だから単に横に向けるだけ立っているんですよ。
だから例えば文章途中まで横で書いて突然縦で書くとか。難しいですね。その全体化じゃない。Talking just as far as the age formatter is concerned, it is probably difficult to mix the vertical writings and the horizontal writings. But if you do it manually, you can certainly do that. Sometimes there are examples, not very often, but we have examples.
I'm Alex Critchfield with Antenna House, and you can mix vertical and horizontal writing on the same page without any problems.
You can? Oh.
Yes. If you go to our website, antennahouse.com, and you look in the samples page, there are examples of multiple writing systems on the same page.
Oh, really?
And
Wonderful.
I believe you define it on a per block basis. I'd have to look at the syntax. But you absolutely can mix them on the same page.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Any questions?